Good evening and welcome to the Hollywood Babylonians. Hello, friends. This is your happy Hollywood history host, Mr. Ben Burke, for our third episode of the Hollywood Babylonians, where we discuss the history and themes behind some of your favorite classic films. Today, I have one of my great friends today on with us. She's a great singer. She's a great actress. She's a TikTok star. She's a lover of classic films. And we're so happy to have her with us today. It is Miss Rachel Lend. Hello, Rachel.
Hi, I wouldn't really call myself a TikTok star, but you're too kind. Thank you.
Oh, but you are. Laura Benanti follows you.
I
That's what
will
it is.
say that is my claim to fame at the moment. Hi, Laura, if you're listening, I love you.
I love you too, Laura. I love you so much. Please listen. But how are you, Rachel?
You know what? It's as we were talking about earlier. It's the busy season. I'm alive. I'm here, and I'm thankful. I'm thankful to be talking to you. Yeah, and I'm really excited to be here. Happy to take a break from work for a minute to talk about good old Hollywood.
As most of you have seen on our Instagram so far, we are talking about Robert Wise's 1965 mega musical hit from 20th Century Fox, The Sound of Music, starring Julie Andrews, Christopher Plummer, and Eleanor Parker.
Yay, yay, yay!
Yay! And Rachel has some very special information to share with all of us. She is a Julie Andrews fanatic. So would you please tell us, Rachel, why Julie Andrews set you on fire?
Listen, Julie Andrews has my entire heart. She has my entire being. I love her so much. Yeah, no, I mean I think it's been a lifelong love of Dame Julie. My grandma, God bless her, Georgette, Grandma Georgette, love you. She was like a big Anglophile and did like business in London all the time. So she would come back with like all this stuff from London, and like she also like appreciated the arts. So she was the one that introduced me to like Mary Poppins and Sound of Music and all those old movie musicals and kind of that love for like British culture. And then my mom too was very into like she was weirdly, speaking of Julie Andrews, was the first one that introduced like Thoroughly Modern Millie to me, and like all those like even like more like off like not as well known Julie Andrews like move, or like even like the big M ship like Hello Dolly and The King and I and stuff like that. So like all of that came from my mom too. But yeah, like something, I don't know what happened when I was 12. Something really clicked in with Julie Andrews. I think it might have been Princess Diaries had come out at that same time, and I went all in. I very much was, my whole life was, and it was also like musical theater was like I was starting to become really interested in musical theater. Like Wicked had just come out and like a lot of those big musicals. So, and I was doing musicals in school. And I mean, Sound of Music and Mary Poppins are in everyone's like growing up Rolodex. So kind of like the two tape VHS where it opened up and you had the all the info, like all the info on it. So
Yes.
totally. And like also like I've like again, like I said with my mom, she would also introduce like all the, that's where I found the love for like old Hollywood movies too, was scouring the Blockbuster Hollywood video with my mom and watching old movies. And so like the love for Julie came with that as well. Like we had to do like biography projects in middle school, and I picked Julie Andrews, and like for the project you had to like bring different items, and like that's how you did the biography. And so of course I brought a guitar case, and like all my items came in the guitar case, a la Sound of Music, full tilt I have confidence moment. Like when I was younger, we like the local community theater did Sound of Music, and so clearly like I was like, this is my moment. I was like the age for Brigida, so I wrote a letter to Julie Andrews, like full chronicling my like full audition process for this. Like wrote her a letter like, Julie, I'm auditioning. I really think I'm going to be great as Brigida. I love you. Wrote her again when I was like, I got a call back. I'm waiting to see what happened. I think I'm going to get Brigida. And then wrote her again being like, Julie, I didn't get cast. I'm not going to be in The Sound of Music. I'm devastated. But one day I hope to work with you and love you. I tried to find those letters when I was home, and I think my mom threw them out. I'm devastated, because I'm sure they were like an absolute gift. But yeah, so long way around the barn, just was fully obsessed. And then I got made fun of in middle school, as you do when you're not like a normal sports loving kid.
Mm.
So got completely made fun of for it. And so like I just like shut it down and was like, nope, I'm not going to talk about this anymore. Like I found my old journal from middle school, and it, like on the whole back page, it says like, I love Julie Andrews, and then you just see it crossed out. Like, no, that's not who I am anymore. And it's like I went back and looked at that and was like, little Rachel, love her with all your heart, whatever with what people say. But yeah, so it's been, I mean, but she's always been in my heart. I mean, also too, like when I was 13, like Princess Diaries 2 came out. Like so many like Julie Andrews things came out in like 2001 to 2005, and it was like, this is prime time. This is prime time love for Julie right here. Had all the recordings. Needless to say, I eventually, right before COVID, brought back my Julie love. I was going to do for my birthday a Julie Andrews tribute concert, which you're hearing it live on the podcast. I'm probably going to do it for my 30th. I'm probably gonna bring it back this spring.
It was so sad because it was like right on the week that everything shut down in New York City.
Was the week it was gonna shut down. Everything shut down, and it was like, oh, I guess I'm spending my birthday in the beginning of a pandemic. But yeah, no, I'm loosely planning on bringing it back in the spring. So if hopefully I'll be doing some Julie tunes.
I am here for it, definitely.
But yeah, so that's my long-winded answer of my love for Julie Andrews, and I'm sure I'll talk about it more because she has my heart and soul. But yes, I mean, I'm very, very happy to be talking about her.
Oh, for sure. And I mean, doesn't she have everybody's heart and soul? I think that's her appeal. I think that's why everybody loves her. It's like why everybody loves Sound of Music. It may be sugar-coated and saccharine. So is Julie Andrews, but she's also got a dark side, too.
Oh, so yeah. Let's look at the later Blake Edwards films.
And I wanted to also ask you, why you love Sound of Music.
Yeah, I love. It's one of my favorites. Again, the Julie Andrews thing. It's just like, yes, everyone loves Mary Poppins and Sound of Music, but they love it for a reason. Like she's incredible. She's all of our singing nanny. No, I mean, Sound of Music the music is gorgeous. It's like, it's my personal favorite Rodgers and Hammerstein score. It, like, the joy in it, and it is too. It's like when you grow up with it, you have this affiliation with it. Of course, everybody wants to be in it. Like I said, I auditioned for it when I was younger. I wanted to be one of the kids. Every theater kid has either been in Annie, Oliver, or Sound of Music. Like we've all done the Do Re Mi dance.
Can you remember like the very first time that little baby Rachel saw Sound of Music, and what was your impression?
I probably saw it when I was like 5 or 6. My mom had seen it in theaters and had like a really fond memory of it. So like she always brought up like how she had always loved seeing it in theaters when it came out. My mom, side note, looks like Kim Krath, who plays Gretel. Like if you put pictures of the two of them side by side, like, and so she thought that. She was like, I thought I always looked like Gretel. And I was like, you absolutely do. So like she had like a really, like, she like was like, oh, I like, maybe I'm like that. Maybe I could, and again, like, it's like, just a fun musical movie. But yeah, I was like really little when I saw it. And it was one of those, like when you're at your grandparents' house and the adults are having dinner, it was one of the like 3 VHS tapes that were on repeat. Right. So, yep. Had an early appreciation of it. Obviously the Julie Andrews phase settled it in, and then then just the love continued throughout. And then right before the shutdown, like every regional theater was doing Sound of Music, like everyone and their mother. So this like audition season 2020, I was very much singing a lot of Sound of Music, which I love. Honestly, like I do want to play Maria at some point. So it was a fun audition season in that sense, just always singing Sound of Music. But yeah, early memory was just like sitting in the living room watching, like I very vividly remember the 2 VHS tape, like, and just staring at the cover and like studying everything. And like I know you are that's why you have this podcast, is because you love behind the scenes stuff. But like I was a big, like, always watching the behind the scenes features. Anytime like the Sound of Music cast would come on Oprah and do a reunion, I was like glued to the set. Like, tell me all the behind the scenes stories. I always loved I always loved learning behind the scenes stuff too with it, and like how they filmed it, and like reading Julie Andrews' book, and like reading about how like her perspective on filming it is always really fascinating too. So those are some early memories with it.
Yes, for sure. And I've kind of had the same. I don't know, because I still have, I haven't let my mother get rid of it, a massive VHS collection. But
Yes.
I don't know if Sound of Music is in that collection, which is just such a travesty. I know when it first came out on DVD, I was like one of the very first ones to,
Same.
snatch it up on. Yes,
Same.
but I do know it first came into my life because of ABC Family. Well,
Mm.
and of course, because of all of my family was obsessed with Julie Andrews and Sound of Music, like a very musical family. So they were obsessed with Sound of Music. So when it came on ABC Family, of course, it introduced us to such great things like Hook and Mrs. Doubtfire,
Oh
all of
yeah.
those great classics. Yes. But when Sound of Music came on, I remember watching it and watching it over and over and over and over again.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the thing is like even in Julie Andrews' book Homework, which I highly recommend to everybody reading her books Home and Homework. Homework specifically details her experience filming Sound of Music, but even she said she was like her and her first husband Tony Walton saw it on Broadway, and she said like it's really saccharine, and she's like I don't know how they're gonna make this. Like her and Carol Burnett in their first special did a send up of it called the family like the Swiss Family Pratt Singers, and it's hysterical. You need to watch it, listeners. Look up all the Julie Carroll specials; they're amazing. But like
Yes.
literally, it's like this very like overly like saccharine like spoof that they do, and she did it in 19 I think like 61 or 62. So like funny that she does the movie like 3 years like or
Hmm.
films it 2 years later. But like she said that so when she, like her initial concern when she was filming was that it was going to be this too like sweet thing, but like with Robert Wise and like everybody working on it, like she and when they cast Christopher Plummer, she was like, oh, like everybody was like, okay, like we have a very trained Shakespearean actor like playing with Julie Andrews, and Mary Poppins hadn't come out yet, so it wasn't like she was seen as this overly sweet person yet, like when they cast her. But so I think like because of all the elements that the people involved with the film brought, it brought such a heart to it. And like even though and like I'll probably bring it up later, but like it does have like a huge political like sway because it's set in Nazi like as the Nazis are trying to take over Austria. The film obviously like cuts out a lot of like Elsa and Max's characters talk about that a lot through like brilliant like how can love survive and there's no way to stop it, like very
Hmm.
akin to like the way Cabaret takes it on in those songs, like through the satire of it. So it's like even like there's elements of it that are very like they're dealing with very heavy issues, and the way that the movie like does it, like there's even I'll talk about there's a scene where How Can Love Survive is played in the background where Elsa and Max are talking, and just even like the nuance of stuff like that, or the nuance that Robert Wise has, and like the different things that like Julie and Christopher Plummer do. It's like it's as a kid you're like, oh, this is great, like singing in the mountains. And so it's like it's all ages, everybody can find something in it. Like I was even watching it earlier today just to like brush up, and there were so many, again, I feel like the word of the day is going to be nuance, but
Hmm.
there's so many, like as an adult like watching it, you see the brilliance within the writing on how they like, yes, it is this very fluffy like, you know, the nun comes and helps the children learn to sing and heals the family through song. I'm like, yes, that's great and that's fluff, but like the layers that are used and the way that they tell the story, and like I said, it's my favorite Rodgers and Hammerstein score. And yeah, it's just like I think it's just really, it's really well done. Unfortunately, the stage version still is like really saccharine. So
I mean,
like you,
somebody needs to rewrite it,
well,
honestly.
like the fact that I have confidence in something good are like added in because of the movie. Like the fact that they've gone back and rewritten some of it. Because honestly,
Right.
the true like filmed version of the musical is that Sound of Music Live that they did back in
Hmm.
2013. Like that is the stage show. And so you see like,
Right.
ooh, they do have to add like they do have to work on some things. But I mean, even still, it's like the fact that it's just so good.
Well,
It's just
yeah,
a good
and
movie.
that stage version, I mean, it made us all angry, but it made my grandmother very angry. She was like, "Of course they have to change the whole thing up," and I was like, "No, no, this is the original," And you combine Carrie Underwood as Maria with the original, and what do you have? I don't know. My hands are still up in question marks.
Listen, when Laura Benanti becomes your like shine, Laura Benanti and Audra McDonald, when they become the shining stars and the people that you want to be in
Yeah.
the show, says something
Yes.
about. I mean, listen, God bless everybody involved. It's the reason why we have the live musicals like the NBC and Fox. So like Godspeed, it was successful. But again, Laura Benanti and Christian Borle and Audra McDonald, shining stars. A plus. Love y'all.
Oh, for sure. And